Right, well, greetings everybody. Welcome to another video. Today we are going to be getting into, well, post-global Wotv. It's here. How long will Wotv be sticking around? Well, that's an interesting topic for maybe another video. So today, another month has come, and with that, a new character, and this time around, it is the new version of Garrousa. And let me cut right to the chase, whether or not I think this character is worth it. The short answer is pretty much not at the moment. I don't think that he is a bad character by any definition. I think that he is quite interesting, especially with the new weapon that has come out for him. I think that his kit is pretty interesting, as we'll also take a look at in this video. But my overall evaluation of him in a katana-based team, at least for now, is pretty underwhelming, and I don't think that anything is going to change in that sense. So it's kind of more with him as being magic right now. That being said, if there is going to be a future katana-based team, it's probably going to include him, because he is one of the stronger, better katana characters. It's just sort of that the other katana characters right now feel a little bit maybe short on what is required. Like O doesn't quite make it, and Sephiroth is interesting, but I haven't seen too much evidence that kind of states that it's going to be really great. I guess the only other thing I want to say is that when it comes down to pointy sword-based weapons, greatsword seems better, at least at the moment, than katana is. So do with that what you will. Either way, Karshia stocks are still incredibly strong. So getting into it today, let's start off showing off this animation, which I think is going to be pretty cool. A lot of people have maybe been waiting for the Mournblade, which is a pretty important story aspect. Sorry if I got that name wrong. I think there's like two different names, or at least a couple of different names out there. So whatever. But yeah, the limit burst animation here is really cool. They put I think a good amount of effort into making it seem really neat for this character, and yeah, I mean that's great, since it is kind of a important story character. Now let's take a look at him in team composition. Thankfully, I do have the dark team already up. And just here, 12k HP, no reincarnations, nice. 128 speed is incredibly fast. 1925 magic, 88 accuracy, single target resistance with not much in the way of AoE, and maxed out on faith and everything. And just for comparison's sake, put up X-Death here, which X-Death, yes, Trust Mastery Runes, 126 speed, 57 accuracy, 30 single target resistance. So it kind of gets you an idea as to what is generally good here. We swap him down into our review-based team. Stats hold up really, really well here. Yeah, I mean, like this guy, as I said earlier, is not short on the potential of being a really impressive character for a lot of reasons. And now let's take a look at resistances, and this is the first character to be naturally immune to curse, which is really, really good. Also, if we're talking about resistances, other than spear, he's looking really, really good. Has been losing to greatsword, at least in early matches that I've seen, so that's not super encouraging, but that's one of maybe the more mid in terms of slashing resistance builds, so, whatever. Other than that, stun resistance, don't move resistance, and poison resistance rounds out his overall resistances to certain things. Now you may wonder, why does he have the curse immunity? Well, it's essentially because of this weapon. This is a UR-based weapon that you get from a single farm. You do not need to multi-farm this. You will only ever get one of this weapon. It is the stats that you can see right here. High critical, high magic, high attack, but it comes with a curse. Quite literally. The curse here is that it actually is cursed. Whatever character equips this will get curse status effect put on them. So unless you are absolutely immune, this will trigger on the characters, and it does essentially make this Garrousa exclusive equipment, at least for now. No idea whether or not we'll get there in the future, and technically I guess if you could stack enough curse resistance this would be fine, but it seems like a long way to go for maybe not necessarily enough payoff, especially because this is just the magic katana. Weakness resistance, magic damage, weakness resistance of 15, magic damage of 10%. When HP is over 50, give increase to human killer resistance, and when under 50%, you get human killer up. Both of those point to a really flexible weapon for a lot of situations, and one of the reasons why this character seems pretty good right now. Also, when a critical hit occurs, grants Guts Reseal to the target for 3 turns. So you can't remove that status effect if a critical hit happens, and this does support critical hit. So it looks pretty nice. Trust Mastery does have agility on it, and a pretty high amount of agility, so we do like it. The ability on this works for him as well, or the user, as well as multiple other characters, granting AoE resistance of 25 for 4 turns for allies. Also grants the effect of decreasing debuff effect weakening by 30 for 3 turns for 4 turns when the attack hits. So overall, it's an okay Trust Mastery. I mean, AP and speed are the 2 things we generally look for, but AoE resistance and, decreasing debuff weakening, I could see a reason or case for it. Otherwise, it also supports the whole critical thing that he's going for and pumps up that critical chance pretty dang high. Looking at the support skills that we have, this one increases accuracy by 25 for self and increases by 5% for every time you take damage, which is kind of interesting because he has a good accuracy stat already, but you can push for more. Slash attack resistance penetration, AoE resistance penetration of 40, human resistance of 15, and when not using a damage skill, there actually is a second effect that activates. And I just am actually looking at the wiki for it just to make sure that I have the right one, which is reduce physical damage taken and magical damage taken. So we saw this also on some more recent characters where when using an attack-based skill, getting a power-up, and a defensive skill, defensive power-up. So that is continuing here. Only a defensive one, but it is pretty nice for giving him some survivability into a future term. Second ability that we are looking at here for this OG one, the OG job, single target resistance and spirit penetration. So the combination of the two is a lot of damage, a lot of survivability, and a good amount of accuracy. I should say that that accuracy maximum is 15% that you can get there. That's enough that it's generally a nice bonus. From his sub jobs, also has magic and AP consumption, or magic up, AP consumption down, single target resistance and spirit penetration. Single target resistance and agility, which is kind of interesting because he doesn't have an agility one on currently and still sporting a 128-ish speed, so he can be even faster, which is really nice. Or increase magic and decrease skill activation time, which is only going to be situationally useful at the very best. Counter ability counters missile and magic damage with an HP increase for self. Okay, I mean, HP healed down, or HP healing power down does exist in a good amount and good frequency right now. I probably would prefer some of the other ones, which is countering missile damage with reducing damage taken if you're going up against, those specific teams. And rather, there's just a 20% chance to counter all damage with HP heal. I guess if you're trying to hunt missile teams or magic teams, then his main one is fine. Other than that, you probably want to switch off to one of his subs to go there. Limit Burst, the large AoE that we've looked at a little bit previously. Dark resistance down of 38% for 3 turns, 200% chance for 20% magic damage increase, and a 40% chance to inflict disable is nice, to say the least, across all of that. Taking a look at his 2 sub-jobs compared to the sub-part of his main for a competition here, he does have the Christmas Wrath magic card, which is a very nice defensive one. Also gives him a magic increase and agility increase. That was a really good job for a while. Might be a nice one to have here, but does have some casting time on abilities, which is probably less than too terribly exciting. As for his other one, which if I remember correctly, I don't remember the icon, Sword Sorcerer, that's it. Grant Shell, magic resistance, can deal some extra damage, does synergize main with his job, with his main job and damage type. Tripped over my own words there. And does give him auto revive, so there is some stuff in there that is pretty good from Sword Sorcerer. What you're essentially giving up is 2 abilities. The first one here, 240 mod, and increases modifier by 100% if there is 5 dead units. That's kind of interesting for certain maps, and kind of in like a 340 power attack. Yeah, I could see a reason why you probably maybe even would want that. But we also have another ability, which is reflectable. Interestingly enough, select 2 targets, inflict blind on them, and doom on them. A 200% chance for physical damage reduction if the target has one of the following of blind or doom, and same with magical. So basically you reduce their damage, make them less able to kill you for multiple turns, and you put less accuracy on them and essentially doom them. It's interesting if there's time. Otherwise than that, this hasn't been too much of a thing, so don't think it'll be that much. I think that this is more interesting. Magic Guard I kind of like a little bit more for the extra speed and buffs that it kind of gives, but we have yet to look at his main kit and what that will be competing against. So getting into the main part of his kit, first phase attack, single target resistance, and a 121 mod. Not too terribly much interesting here, just straight basic as you would expect. We'll go to this next one yet, which is just a attack. Dispel all buffs for the targets, dispel haste, dispel physical damage increase, magical damage increases 200% mod, and a 40% chance to inflict curse. Best units out there are having curse resistance and cursed anti-auras. I don't think that curse will be that much of a value here, but the dispel on this ability is generally nice, if not for the singular problem that it kind of only affects a singular unit, which does make it less interesting. Alright, this next one, the usual wall of text, increased debuff effect weakening if you have ignore fatal damage by 30, debuff effect weakening by 30 if you ignore fatal. So basically this is his cast ignore fatal damage on it. Also gives single target resistance, the ignore fatal, increased spirit penetration, grants the effects of decreasing human resistance by 15% for 3 turns, for 4 turns if the targets, if you have ignore fatal on you, and grants the following effect of also decreasing bravery by 15 for 3 turns, and decreasing AP consumption by 30. It's a nice ability. It gives a lot of value, and it actually does do something really nice here of casting a bunch of effects on a ton of people, although you do need to have the synergy there of ignore fatal and ignore fatal up to get all of the stuff off. If it is cancelled, you are kind of required that, you know, something doesn't go wrong, so I don't feel it's the most solid, considering that the weapon has it, and you do need other characters to kind of support the game plan here of ignore fatal. It feels like there's more revive characters lately, but that's just me. So yeah, kind of not the most excited about it, but there you go. Alright, looking at here for the ability I skipped, the other support one. For 4 turns, When damage 30% more is achieved, a certain percentage of HP is reflected small. This is the spike effect that we've seen on other characters. It's available for him in both physical and magical damage types. So that's kind of interesting. Grants the effect of granting human killer to allies within range, shaped around himself in a diamond style pattern. Also granting the effect of human killer within range centered around self. So he does have a aura style effect on this one. And last but not least, we are looking at a few other things, such as absorbing a portion of damage dealt for up to 4 times, it looks like. Oh wait, sorry. Yeah, deals damage, absorbs a portion of the damage dealt from attacks that are done off of this. So yeah, that's all really nice. We get on to closing up with his final attack ones. Really important for his kit: breaking magical barriers, reducing physical damage taken the larger the AoE size, also for magic attacks for that one. Reducing debuff effect, weakening by 50 for 4 turns. Reducing counter chance, 200 mod on this, extra 30 accuracy, reduces damage taken for himself for 50% for 2 turns, and decreases healing power by 40. This is his big attack. It does have a nice AoE on it, has some good range on it, and it does pretty good. That brings us, of course, to the final ability here, which is this one: reducing magical damage taken, increase buffs for targets, and 200 mod, while also decreasing spirit. Kind of a lackluster final one. His other abilities do a lot, but this one, I mean, it's the awkward X style pattern, which is not always the best, but it is an option for him. But just decreasing spirit is kind of a little bit lackluster. I guess he kind of does a lot of other things already, but yeah. Most of the reviews I've seen out there of him thus far basically kind of land on the same as him being, he's up there, like we've seen with a lot of other characters, being in a higher tier, but not the highest tier. This is not a game breaking or meta changing or going to make everybody reevaluate how they play this game. This is not that character. This is a dark slasher with excellent capabilities of releasing or dispelling off of your opponents. Not only that, but some really great damage methods, kind of ones that are a little bit fun too, of having enough dead on the field. Totally useless during like 3-on-3, but if you're ever, 5 or more, you're in the gold for dealing a ton of damage once you get all the little enemies down and destroying the big enemies later. So that's cool. Can place physical and magical damage spikes at the same time. Those can last for 2 turns and can be reapplied, and has excellent durability methods, such as playing around with human resistances and damage reductions. So yeah, brings me back to what I said at the start of this. He is an interesting, strong character that is not going to break the mold at all. I don't think he's going to make anybody reevaluate the meta, and from what I've seen, Greatsword does seem to just trounce Katana right now. That doesn't mean that this won't be a strong character or a strong combination with Katana into a bunch of other matchups. But I do think that Katana is still waiting for a little bit more to really, really shine, which is a little unlikely, at least at this point in time, barring whatever the next vision card is, or potentially probably an Esper, given that they seem to have put some more effort with this release than some of the other releases recently. I don't know what else you can add to Katana, since Katana's gotten so much VC support recently, to really push it into this character into up to a triple S tier, but we'll keep an eye on it and let you know in the future. Thanks so much for watching. Take care and see you later.